Hey everyone, I'm just going to walk through this real quick because it saves a tremendous amount of time. So say we're buying domains, expired domains. Normally, what will we do first? Try to reestablish them, right? Resurrect them from the dead. Go back and figure out what pages exist, like on the Wayback Machine, because probably the pages are not indexed in Google anymore, but we want the backlinking power from those domains. And in order to get that power, we have to make a bunch of the pages back on the website, right? Including pages that certainly get linked into by the backlinks, right? Well, times have changed. Google isn't ranking a website holistically as much as it is page by page. Every page competes on its own steam. So we stepped back and took a closer look at what we were going to do, which is what everyone always used to do. And then I started to realize we don't need to do it that way anymore. It's old-fashioned. And here's a better way. So, first things first, you don't need to worry about the original template. I mean, recreating the original template for a lot of people is easy because they'll just like download the HTML files with the JS files, the CSS files, put it up, right? And voila, they have the original template. And then they copy paste the contents onto those pages that they create, right? Well, we have our own templates. Does Google care about the template? No, it always assumes that you're probably going to upgrade the template over time anyway, right? So that's not an issue for Google at all. Now, does Google care about the original menu links? No, it never did. It cared about the URLs. It wants to know that if it suggests a result that somebody's searching for and they see a bunch of results and they can click something, that will go to a page that's about that thing. Right? Google wants to know that that page will be there. You know, that it won't be an oops page not found or redirect back to the home page of the website, but it'll be a page about that keyword. So how does Google really tell about that? Well, a couple of ways it can tell. I mean, page not found, that's a 404 error. Google can see those. Redirects to the home page, Google can see those. Okay? But the biggest thing in the world is that people, when they land, they kind of leave the site shortly because the page they landed on isn't really related to their search term, right? Okay, there's that. But let's step back and think further. Google doesn't care about the template. It doesn't care about the menu. It cares about the URLs. But if we're assuming that we're rebuilding the original site for the purpose of reconnecting the backlinking, okay? And then we're going to put up our own pages from there. Okay, create our own pages into the menu. Well, here's the thing. We don't really need hardly anything from the original site except to know what it was pitching in the first place so that we're talking about the same thing. We're moving in the same industry, right? We can change the ideas of things as long as we stay in the general flow. So what's the point for it? Because Google expects that. We'll take pages down, we'll put pages up. It also expects people to drop backlinks, other people to add backlinks, right? Okay, so here's what I want to say. Google probably doesn't index any more of the pages of the website, so there's, if we go to recreate the pages, all we're doing is creating a bunch of new pages that Google will discover, except do you know what Google will see? We have those in our database already and they haven't changed. And so we're back to where we were back then. They broke off the website, but they got re-added. So for whatever reason, the guy, lost some pages and added them back in. A couple of years later, a year later, or however long. Okay, so that's not really interesting so much. Google really already assumed that we took those down. What pages matter? Well, homepage. So we can put any template up, add a homepage, make sure it stays in the industry, right? And throw some images, videos, whatever, anything we want on that homepage, right? Now, we can create our own menu links for our own stuff because it's fine. That's us saying those pages used to be the most important a couple of years ago. But now, these are the pages we want to be seen by people when they come as the most important pages, the pages in the menu, okay? Google's fine with that. You can swap out menu links. That's not a big deal. Google does count how many links lead to a page on your website, for all your pages. But that's okay. That's a different point. Right now, what are we doing? We're reconnecting the old link juice that came in through the old backlinks. So you know what we realized? As long as we know what the website's supposed to be about, why do we need to recreate old pages anyway from archive.org? It takes a long time to copy and paste in like 50 to 100 pages to get a bunch of them to reconnect through the backlinks. That's not the right idea. Because even then, when we're done, they're old pages. We have to rewrite through them. So we reconnected them because of the ones that have backlinks pointed at them, because none of the rest were even indexed in Google anymore. So it's almost useless to recreate those. But what about the ones that had the backlinks? That's where the juice is coming from. That's where the power is coming from. So we have to make sure that the juice can get into our website because they land on pages. So let me show you a quicker way. This is really cool. And for those of you who get websites from us through Website Installer, okay, you come here and you decide to get templates, all right? And you pick one up and you're using an expired domain, right? Like when you go to buy one, you can apply your expired domain right here during your purchase, right? Set the name servers and apply it and buy. And then guess what? You are literally creating the website with whatever template you want, which is totally fine. And then you're going to just make sure you look in archive.org or somewhere to figure out what the main page did talk about. Or look at some of the backlinks to glean it, okay? And you'll figure it out. Now what? Now we're going to create the URLs that had the backlinks. Look, there's 612 backlinks. If I were to go to Ahrefs, there is a way I can download this stuff and into Excel and sort it, right? What do I want to get? I want to get the anchor terms, the anchor text, that's the keywords, whatever they were, like this pingback bit. I hate it when I can't highlight. This is a keyword, believe it or not. And that's fine. I mean, that is the anchor text that was used in the URL. So I can use this to have GPT see what the heck it means and write about it. I could create a simple backstory for the entire website and use as my backstory, but when I'm creating individual pages, I'm using the backstory and focusing on the target keyword, okay? Now, this is the URL I would need to create, except I don't need to create all this. I'm just gonna create the page itself, like this 21C-wayfinding-the meeting map. And I'll do an htaccess rewrite to get rid of the folder structure here, okay? You're not gonna create folders on theme to HTML websites like this 2015 folder with the 06 folder with the 22 being the day. You won't create folders like that. So just in htaccess, we'll simply rewrite that out. 301 redirect so that the new URL that this points to will be skinius.com/21C-wayfinding-the meeting map, right? We can do that easily. Anything with a folder structure, we can easily do that. Sooner or later, we'll probably build something into the admin panel so that you guys can do that. I just thought of this stuff recently. What's this? This is a naked URL. So this acts like the anchor text, right? Okay, we don't need to create a page about that per se. But we will make sure to, about a particular keyword. But if I don't have a keyword, what do you think I'll use for the keyword to write the page? Well, whatever the page is about, look at this. What is the best metal landscape edging? That's all I needed. Because I can use that when the anchor text is missing. And I can make that, I can reformat that to be a simple question and let GPT write about it. Oh, so I can do it with everything. How to splice low voltage landscape lighting wire. Oh, I can turn that into its own topic and write about it to create the page. See, that's the point. Create the page, create the page, create the page, create the page, create the page. Which ones could I ignore? The ones where these don't exist anymore. If you click on them and they aren't there anymore. Could we do a quick ping check on all these pages and make sure that they're there? Yeah, whichever ones are there, we're going to focus on. Whichever ones are not there, we can toss them out. can we also take this list of the URLs and get rid of the duplicates so that we know what the individual pages are? Yeah, we can do that. So we can literally decide. We can figure out how many anchors are pointed at a particular page, but we only need to write the page once so that the anchors can point into it. And the only other thing we need is just figuring out what the anchors are saying for the page and either choosing one or a bunch of them to figure out how to write the page around the thing, right? Best garden hose on the market. That right there is the keyword for this page here, say. I think they have a better page for it, so I might just use my own judgment call. But I will make sure this link exists because I can't control what they wanted to do. So if they're doing that, they're doing that. There's not much I can do about that, but that's okay. I'm going to make sure the page exists. So as long as this one exists, like if I go there and it's there and that link is there, well, the link is there somewhere, okay? And I'll bet it will be. What did it say? It said what? Best garden hose, Control F, right? Best garden, yeah, hose on the market right there. Okay, so the very act of getting that page up, making sure that page exists on our website, because it doesn't yet. But if I add it, I am resurrecting the total score for this website. Does that make sense? Now, many of these pages we did create, many of them do exist. Okay, and many of them are repetitive. All right, you'll start to recognize many of these URLs. So do we really need to create a lot? No, but we can use GPT to write about the anchor text for the pages and or otherwise write literally about the pages themselves based on the clarity of the URL itself. 6 tips on how to make the best soil for a vegetable garden. That's perfectly clear. I can just create the page. By creating the pages that are in this list here, on my website, I am therefore getting these backlinks back, many of them, right? And that is huge. This is funny. This is actually an issue where canonicals were wrong on the page just a day or two ago. So we just got done fixing this. So Ahrefs will catch up with this soon. But yeah, this stuff is live. And that's the whole point. So we don't need to create any other pages than these plus something for the home page. Okay. And of course, when we create these pages, then our home page can have links, that go off to a bunch of these pages. And we can choose to add whatever we want in the menu if we don't have something else there. But all these pages are going to be in the sitemap anyway. So I'll have that link at the bottom of the page, sitemap, you can click on, and then you can go to any of these pages, right? Then what are we going to do? We're going to run our inner linking tool to look for wording matches in the paragraphs that point at other pages of the site. It's all landscaping. So a page that's talking about a garden hose might mention something about splicing a wire for real, or what is the best landscape fabric for your backyard. It might be this kind of fabric, don't spray with a hose or whatever. Use this kind of a garden hose to spray that kind of landscape fabric. I mean, you never know what's in the paragraphs. You just write well on all these pages, add the table of contents and everything with GPT. And what happens is when we run that interlinking tool, it will find wording matches and point across to those pages. And then those pages are pointing across to other pages because of their wording matches, right? And then we're going to create the outbound links that leave the site, go to other sites too, and we've got other sites that are pointing in, right? All this stuff is the stuff we want to do. But really, if I'm just looking at these URLs, I know exactly what I should do to make these pages valuable. Now, if I'm using GPT to write 6 easy ways for pruning indeterminate tomatoes and make your garden look beautiful, if I'm using GPT to write it, I guarantee you, I can write it better than it was written originally because it was written a few years ago before GPT. So now that we have GPT-4, I can make the page so much better, but maintain the URL. That's why I'm avoiding double work. I'm not copying and pasting pages from years ago into these pages just to create the URLs, just to reconnect the backlinks, because then I still think wow, how do I make those valuable instead of just the reconnection? I make those pages updated. I do new good things with the pages. So I'm going to want to rewrite through them anyway. Well, it's better just to take the inventory of the pages and then just straight away write the pages with GPT-4. Since we get to do that, we get to define what we want the URLs to be, okay? And then write the contents out onto those pages. All right, so I wanted to tell you that because in your admin panels, when you get your own website, you can do the same thing. You can create pages and give them the page names, and then you can go generate articles, and you can have GPT-4 write really well to, and attach those articles to those pages. And the only thing we have to add for you there that isn't added already, because you could even use DALL-E 2 to create cool imagery on those pages, right? And then you can pull in other images from anywhere. And pretty soon we're going to have that as a second option too, where you can swap between DALL-E 2 and Pixabay, it looks like, where you can pull in images from Pixabay instead of images from DALL-E 2. Okay, and they're license free and they're unbranded images, so they'll work. And that's cool because when we pull these things in, they're based on matching the H2s. Isn't that neat? So we send the request saying, give me an image for this, and we tell it the H2. And it goes, all right, based on your H2, here's what you're looking for, and it gives us an image back. Based on the size of the image, we'll put it on the left or the right or the center if it's large. Right? Left, right. So it looks good on the page going down, but then center is for big ones. Does that make sense? And it's checking like every third H2. You don't have too many images. It's crazy. But like an image every third section, that makes sense. Okay. So we can recreate great pages and we can automate putting images into them. And the only other thing is, how do you create the simple rewrite saying whenever there's a folder like this, get rid of it from the URL. Get rid of the folder combination from the URL. So whether it just says soil / get rid of that. Garden / get rid of that. 301 redirect it to the page without that. But in the case where there's even more than one such folder, like 2015/06/22, you could say get rid of that. 2015/06/22, right? And then that way you just get the pages on the root, which is what we want every time. And the 301 redirect just tells when anyone, including the bots, try to go through the backlink and land on this page, then the page goes, oh, it's moved, it's over here. Here it is. Okay? And Google's totally fine with that because they know when you get different templates, often they have different rules. Different admin panels, different structures. Some allow folders, some don't. Some you have to move this, some you have to change that. And you might want to reorganize. So Google totally understands if you want to move pages around. Maybe the pages in the menu are in a certain section of your site called menu and you don't want them in the menu, you got to move them, but you don't want to lose the value of them. And you want to put other pages in the menu, you're going to move those too. So Google gets that. In our case, what do? We get rid of all the folders. We just leave it root/page. Make sense? So yeah, what we did. This is actually so cool. It saves months and months and months because I can set up this list in Excel, get rid of the duplicates, make sure I understand the anchor text that go with it, and I can set GPT to write by itself through our remote system, Central Console, and it can start writing all the contents onto all these websites for me while I take off and do something else or something more useful or anything for that matter. And the whole point of that is being able to pick up the speed on this like clockwork. So for all you guys who were waiting, because we were thinking we were buying auction domains and waiting like 2 weeks for that, and then recreating contents from archive.org for like 2 weeks, and it was going to take something like that for every couple of sites, now we don't have to do that. We're literally saving months off these productions just with being able to get domain names the way we are right now so that we have basically instant access to useful domains and therefore writing a lot more content to the sites. and updating it and pulling in images, all the other stuff that adds up to quality. But also, instead of wasting all our time with the archive.org and then rewriting through all those pages, we just go look up the backlinks. These URLs that we need to write about, put them in, let's write about them. We don't even really have to check these anymore. We just grab all these green links, right? And then create them without the folders. We'll just 301 redirect the folders. Yeah, things I won't bother to create will be this. But that's easy to see and separate out, right? This is strange characters, obviously not URLs. Okay. I think you get the point, right? So I'm telling you that because any of you who are following along with this stuff can build yourself incredible power, or you can have us do it for you. So if you have any questions about your projects, reach out, give me a call. If you want to do this on your own, you can do it through Website Installer by getting yourself a template. If you want to set up in the Website Flipping Club and have us do that for you, you can watch this video to get the idea. And then you can come down here to get a Website Flipping Club position. We have a number of people in here now that we're moving through this conveyor belt, and we're just doing it right. So many things have been happening so fast, and I was waiting for Ahrefs tests for stuff like, what if I take a DR0 and backlink another DR0? Does this improve? Does this improve? This stays a DR0, but this goes up like to a 3.8. With one good backlink from a quality website that's related to it, industry-wise. Wow. If it was not in the same industry, it might be more like a 1.2 or a 0.8 addition to the score, in the early stage of DR. Because DR is logarithmic. Obviously, the further you go along, the harder it is to go up. But every little bit counts. And so the question is, how do we maximize smartly the use of it all without spamming? Well, we've figured all this out now, and we've built our tools to accommodate that structure so that we're doing everything right now and not spamming at all. So I love it. I love it. Okay. Just letting you know, all this stuff is opening up, and it's been a while getting here, but it's just going to take off like that because we're getting it. And we're about to automate like all the rest of the steps and just put it on everything on the conveyor belt, and it'll just run and take care of everyone in the process. All the DML position guys, everything that we were doing then that we moved over to the Website Flipping Club concept because it makes more sense. Oh, also, I watched a really cool interview between one of the guys who runs EmpireFlippers.com, with all those sites selling for like $1 million each, and one of the guys who builds up expired domains. He goes and he builds up websites and he flips them on Empire Flippers. And I was thinking, wow, these guys are pretty approachable. They can tell you stuff. You can call them with questions. They can help coach you. It's like, because they're in it for the money too. They get their cut from the sales. So they really want to make it work for you too. And I just thought that was so cool. I just found that out literally today. So yeah, all this stuff is moving really fast. Just letting you know. All right.